I want to remind myself and you that as far as children are concerned, the only thing that parents will be questioned about before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is how those children were raised, about their tarbiyah. Right? You will not be asked whether your child was a doctor or an engineer or a pilot or an architect and so on. None of which are bad things to have. They're all good things, alhamdulillah. But you will not be questioned about that. You will be questioned only about the tarbiyah of the child. What is it that the child did with respect to his beliefs and with respect to his akhlaq, his dealings. So when you are talking about what is my dream for my child, this is okay, that's your dream for the child, but you are not the child. At the end of the day, he is the one who's going to, or she is the one who's going to have to do what you have dreamt. So where is their commitment in that? So that is very important for you to involve them. And no matter how small they are, doesn't matter. Sit them down, talk to them. What do you want to become? Because unless that commitment for the dream comes from within the child, it's not going to happen. It will not happen. So you have to guide the child to have a kind of dream which also aligns with your own dream. If you don't do that, and if it's only your dream, won't work. And then obviously when I say you, I mean both the mother and the father. So it has to be a three-way conversation. Three of you sit together and talk about this dream. What is it that motivates you? How will you do this? And so on. So the dream, your dream for the child really should be the child's dream for herself or himself, supported by you. It's not a question, I want my child to be this or that. You may want. You may want. It won't happen. Unless you put the effort. And unless the child also wants that to happen. So have those conversations, right? I don't know if you have them yet, but you should have them. Now, parenting, as I say, is a contact sport. It's not a armchair dialogue. You can't sit and, I want this, I want that. No, it has to be your involvement. And your involvement includes your time, it includes your talent, it includes money. But much more important than money is your time. So how much time do you give to your child? And the usual answer we get from people is, oh, but you see, I'm very busy, I have this job, I have to travel. You're making the choices. It is your child. You have to make the choices. And if you say, I have to do all of these things, sure, that's the choice you're making. Then don't expect magic to happen, because magic won't happen. Right? Andre Agassi, the tennis player, who had the most powerful serve of any tennis player in history. He started, literally, his father started him playing tennis, literally when he was the height of an adult tennis racket. So how old is that? Maybe 2 years old. He's as tall as a racket. And his father designed a ball throwing machine. In those days, they didn't have these machines. Nowadays, you can buy them, but those days, he designed a ball throwing machine which used to throw the ball at a speed of, if I'm not mistaken, about 100 kilometers an hour. It was like a bullet. And Andre Agassi's father had this rule that he had to, again, if I'm not mistaken with the figures, he had to face 1,000 serves. So this ball is being fired, he has to face that serve and hit it back 1,000 times a day. So by the time Andre Agassi was like 10 or 12 years old, he had already faced 1,000,000 serves, which no competitor of his ever did. So the key is the dream of the father, starting early enough, and then consistent effort on that. Not a day was missed. Andre Agassi says, there was no way, as long as I was not sick in bed, whether it is Christmas, whether it is this, whether it is that, doesn't matter. You are going to fire 1,000 serves in the day. And there are many such stories about, I'm giving you examples from athletics and from sports because they're easy to find. Many such examples. Great sports people don't become great sports people by wishing for it. There is a lot of energy, there is a lot of effort that goes into it. And the same rule applies. So, your commitment as a parent, how committed are you? Parents talk about respect. And they will tell, sometimes they come to me, please tell my children that they should respect me. Please give a lecture on the fact that children should respect their parents. So my question always is, why is there a need to do that? Why is there a need to do that? I remember once a teacher, the teacher in a college, he talked about how disrespectful students are towards teachers. He's not talking about America, he's talking about India. How disrespectful teachers are towards students. And he made a very statement which stuck in my mind. He said, teachers don't come to college and go from college by the same route. They take a different route. They keep changing the route they take to their home, because they are afraid that some student or a group of students will be lying in wait for them to assault them. And I'm thinking to myself, I've been a teacher for 40 years. And all that I ever got from my students, young or old, is respect and love. Nothing else. Alhamdulillah. So what is it that's happening? If you are a teacher, you are a parent, we blame the younger generation is bad, they are like this, they are like that, these kids. But is it? I mean, I'm not saying if there are children who are, or students, I don't know if we call them children, they're maybe in their late teens or something, but if they are assaulting their teacher, no matter what the teacher did, certainly I don't support that. I'm not saying it's a good thing. But there is something involved. No? I mean, it's not one person alone. The child didn't just wake up in the morning and say, today I'm going to beat my teacher. But what is it that leads to that? Something leads to it. So when you say, I want my children to respect you, my question to you is, why do you need to say that? Why do you need to say that? So ask yourself, am I worthy of respect? I know these are hard questions, right? These are hard questions for me to ask you, they're hard questions for you to think about. And I'm not saying necessarily that you are not worthy of respect. No, of course not. Alhamdulillah, may Allah bless you and make you worthy of it. But seriously ask yourself the question, how do I become worthy of respect? How do I become somebody who has so much dignity that I don't need to tell my children to respect me? I don't have to tell them that. The very fact that you have to tell somebody something shows that there is a problem. Same thing with marital relationships. The wives come to me, Sheikh, please tell my husband what are the rights of a wife. And the husband comes to me, please tell my wife what are my rights, rights of the husband. So I tell them, I will tell you instead what are your duties as a wife and what are your duties as a husband. Because you will be questioned about your duties. You will not be questioned about your rights. Allah will not say, what right did you have? Allah will say, what were your duties? And the beauty is that if you fulfill the duties, the rights get fulfilled automatically. No? My duty towards my wife is her right. And her duties towards me are my rights. So if I focus on my duties, her rights will automatically get fulfilled. Instead of that, if I say, no, what are my rights? I must get my rights. It will never happen because it becomes a conflict. And the question I need to ask myself is, why do I need to ask for my rights to be fulfilled? Something is happening here. There is a problem with the relationship. Something is wrong. What is that? Same thing with parents. And in that, it's very important. That's why I say here, children have many friends but only two parents. One of the biggest problems of parenting today is parents are afraid of children. They are afraid of children, literally, physically or psychologically frightened of children. Whatever the child wants, the parent will give. You go to somebody's house, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you all about the good old days when I was a child. Forget that. Every time, every period has good things and bad things in it. I was not born and raised in a time which was all golden and beautiful, and you are not in a time where everything is bad. No. There were things in my time also which were nasty and stinky, and the same thing here, and there was things which were good and otherwise. But just a couple of things I want to point out. When I was a child in our home, the practice, and nobody ever, I don't think anyone ever actually told us to do this. This is how we grew up. It's somehow, part of the culture. If you have a guest in the house, number one, you come and you say salam. Number two, while the guest is there, you stay in the room. You sit quietly, you listen to the conversation. Then you go and you bring the tea and you bring the whatever is being served, you bring it. Alhamdulillah, we grew up with servants. Servants don't do that. Your job. And nobody needs to tell you that. The father, mother don't have, it's your job, you are supposed to know that. You go, you bring the food, you bring whatever is being there, you bring and serve it. If it's a dinner or something, you serve. You don't sit there and grab and eat. No, you serve. And when all that is over, before you leave, if you have to leave, ideally speaking, you don't leave, the guest leaves first. To the extent, if they have left their shoes outside, you go beforehand and you put their shoes there in a position where they can simply slip their feet in. Meaning the shoes should not be pointing this way, they should be pointing that way. All this, we were taught all this and nobody sat us down in the class and said, this is what you should do when a guest comes, can't stand up there, says, no, this was the culture. This is how we grew up. Today, you don't see the children. Why? He is in his face is in the phone, he is in his room. Or she is in their room. It's not my guest. Somebody came to see my father. A guest is a guest of the household. And if somebody asks, where are the children? No, you can't call them. Why? Oh, they are studying, or they're doing this, they're doing that. Parents are afraid of children. Child wants to do something, you will never say no. But please understand, your primary role as a parent is to set boundaries, guardrails. You are the brakes on the car. You are the most important thing in their lives because you are a lifesaver. You are the seat belt. You are the brakes on the car. You are the guardrails on the highway. Right? Otherwise, it's like putting your child into a car, powerful engine, no brakes. And he's driving down a hill road. There's only one conclusion to that, right? Only one thing can happen. And it's not a good thing. So, being able to say no. You have this Rafa Academy here in Kuwait. I think there are 2 or 3 in the world. Kuwait has one of them. I don't know how many of you know the story of Rafa Nadal. Rafael Nadal, one of the greatest tennis players in the world, his coach was his uncle. His coach was his uncle. Spanish, right? His coach was his uncle. So Rafa went and won one international match. So he's now coming back home to his village. So obviously the small village people are so happy that it's one of our village kids who won this great international competition, this match. So they decorated the whole village and they put lights and they put buntings and they put, The uncle came, he saw all this, he said, what is this? He said, no, we are welcoming Rafa. He said, take it off. They take down everything. Take down everything. He won one match, so what? That's not his destination. That's not where I want him to be. He made them take down all decorations. He said there will be no celebration, no nothing. It's a day like any other day. Is it a hard thing or is it a good thing or a bad thing? But Rafael Nadal says that is what made me what I became. Guardrails. Rafa went, he needed to buy a car. So he had money, his own money he won in a match which he played and so on. He had the money to buy a car. He didn't go just buy a car, he went to his father. He said, Dad, can I have your permission to buy a car? He's not asking for money. Think about this. He's not asking for money, he has the money. He's asking for permission. Can I use my money to buy a car? You think he's crazy? This is called tarbiyah. This is how you get respect. He goes to his father, he says, can I buy a car? Do I have your permission? I have the money. Father says, no. No, you cannot buy a car. He says to him, when you win such and such a match, say for example Wimbledon, when you win that match, then you can buy a car. Okay. So there is Rafa Nadal, he's on his bicycle or he's running or whatever the hell he's doing, he doesn't buy a car. He has the money to buy a car. He does not buy a car because his father does not permit him to buy a car. Then he wins that match. So now he's fulfilled his father's condition. Does he go buy the car? No. He goes back to his father. And he says, Dad, I have the money. And you give me permission to buy when I win the match. I now won the match. Can I have a permission? Can I buy the car? He says, yes, now you can buy the car. Then he goes to buy the car. I'm not talking about a Sahabi of Rasulullah. I'm talking about Rafael Nadal. That is how you raise children. That is how you raise children who become like what he became. Global name in tennis. You talk about focus. Look up some of the videos and so on, and you see the concentration on his face when he's facing it's something incredible. It's just to see that face is incredible. Right? So let me pause at this point, inshallah. And I think it's time for 5 minutes or something before. So inshallah, we'll pause at this point. We'll go back. I want to leave this point with you, which is to say that as parents, how can we become role models? And one of the ways of becoming role models is to be able to say no. Right? أقول قولي هذا أستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم.